And this shoe is specifically for strength training. A lot of blood, sweat, and squats went into making this shoe. So if you haven't had time, you should go out and wear test the shoe, because I promise you, a lot of people are in the wrong shoe. You're training in the wrong shoe, and this shoe is gonna change your life. Anyways, let's get into it, you guys. So if you can please welcome the panelists to the stage, show some love. We got Giselle, Deanna, and Afia. And you guys, Afia just got off stage at Tone House for the lift up. She's a champ, she won. So let's give it up. She legit ran over here, sweating, and up to the stage. So we're really lucky to have her, and I'm actually happy that this worked out, because we were sweating. We were like, shit, is she gonna make it? All right, so let's get this started. I think we should start with a little icebreaker, because it's always a fun thing to do. If you guys could work out with anyone, any athlete, any celebrity, who would you work out? Oh, dead or alive, who would you work out? Let's go with Giselle.
I actually have no answer for this question. I said jokingly Megan Thee Stallion, because lately you guys have seen her transformation completely. Dedication with the rap career and also fitness is huge to handle. So that's what I said, but truthfully, I didn't really have an answer.
I think that's a good answer. Megan Thee Stallion, you're like dancing the whole time. That shit would be sweet. Yeah.
For me, mine's a little bit nerdy. I think it'd be really cool to work out with the ancient Greeks. I mean, they kind of came up with the idea of lifting, so watching them pick up, inanimate objects would be really, really kind of funny. Also went to a museum, kind of geeked out, and learned the history of lifting, which is just crazy. So,
that's a creative answer. Yeah, that's like a super creative answer, and also when you think about it, you're like, no, that makes sense. I like it. I appreciate it.
I think I would choose Mr. T, just because I was trying to think about who matches my energy.
I feel like to be abused.
Yeah, I want him in my face, you're a pussy, who's gonna match that energy? And I was like, it could only be Mr. T, so I want to be with the dogs.
Yes, no, I like that. All the answers are up here, they're good. All right, cool. Let's get into the good stuff. So I would love for us to share our goals or expectations that we had going into this program. Let's start with Leanna for this one. Goals, expectations she had going into this program that we just wrapped up, that we started in June.
So I was just heavy lifting every day of the week, not really listening to my body. I mean, I'm sure we've all been there in this room. You can't really do that and expect to have consistent results and not get injuries. Also, I didn't know the importance of the shoes I was wearing. To be honest with you, I didn't know a lot about my body before this campaign. It really opened up my eyes with just working with the coaches. So I had to do a lot of agility, training for speed, and it kind of felt like I was in track some days. I kind of loved it because I did do track. But overall, I was doing a lot of agility, mobility, a long warm-up. I never got an injury, not once. That's so unheard of for me. So I learned a lot about me as a person with my body, but also getting stronger. So being able to lift more weight, I didn't realize that doing agility and training like I did, just functional, that I would be able to lift more weight. Yeah.
I think it's interesting because you mentioned that it's just not having the education that to know what shoes to do and to how to properly train your body. And I think that was a big message we had at Adidas, making sure that we had a team behind them that could really educate them on certain strength things, certain nutrition aspects, mental aspects, sleeping aspects, because it's never just one thing, right? It's a collection of things. All right, let's keep moving. Giselle, you want to take it away?
Yes. Okay, well, my expectations, first of all, Adidas was always kind of get a little mad at me because I was a barefoot lifter for a while, and I was an advocate for that. I mean, barefoot lifting has a lot of cons, but I was always suffocated in my shoes. That was a big thing for me. So when I came into Adidas comes up to you and tells you, we're going to give you all these coaches who know a lot more than you, we need you to be dialed in, tuned in. It was intimidating. That's very intimidating in my opinion. I started off as a plus size creator, and the journey that I'm taking has drastically changed. But I really had to humble myself in this experience. I had to tell myself, like, I know what I know, but there's always someone who knows more than me. So I have to take a moment to step back and say, I'm going to just learn and take everything in. So of course, going into this, I was like, of course I want to lean out, but I want to get stronger. Now, I will say, I was the same way. I was a powerlifter. You put 3 plates on a rack and I'm there, but I had no weight on my entire program. It was just body weight, calisthenics. I was going crazy, okay? You told me I couldn't have a barbell on my back. I was like shaking and itching. But it definitely was a good experience.
How about you?
I think my expectations were a little bit different going into it. I'm also a coach, so I had been programming for myself. I'm also an athlete, so I'd been competing, and I'd come off about like 6 competitions already, and I went into it with my ego, like, you guys really aren't going to show me something that I don't know. And most of, I think, what I learned didn't come from the exercise, but all the stuff outside of that, like my sleep, my eating. I had hit a crazy plateau coming off of a few terrible competitions, and I was just in a really bad mental space. And after day 1 with the coaches, it was kind of like they were saying, you're taking this too serious and you need more fun. So it has to be less about fitness for you and more about fun. And that was like really hard for me to like grasp, like the first 2 weeks, just like going back and forth with that. But it exceeded my expectations in terms of like how my thought process going into it, how I went about that.
Fun. What a concept. All right. So what word or phrase would you use to describe your journey? Let's just go down the line. Word or phrase you would use to describe your journey?
Humbling, yes.
I would say transformative, like mind, body, and spirit. Like they were talking about with the sleep and just listening to your cues. Yeah, very transformative inside and out.
I would say the comeback. That's what I think of immediately.
That's nice. Good words, good words. All right, so let's get into things that surprised us. And this can be positive or negative, right? So like, feel free to get deep with us. Some things that maybe you were really like pumped and surprised, happy about, and some things that were maybe a little bit more negative that you were affected by. Sorry. All right, let's start with Theo.
I was excited about the sleep data just because like I already go crazy for sleep. And one of the sleep coaches, she was essentially explaining to me circadian alignment and how you need a certain amount of sunlight in order to regulate like the nervous system, but also make sure you get appropriate sleep and recovery. And she was like, how many minutes a day do you get sun? And I thought about it and I was like, maybe like 10 minutes. And I was like, this is really affecting my sleep because this was the biggest issue that I had. Like I felt like I was plateauing, I wasn't getting stronger, but my volume had stayed the same. And it was because the quality of my sleep was getting really bad. So I actually had to do a worry journal, which at first I was like, I'm from Brooklyn, so I was like, I'm not writing down my fucking worries. I was like, what is that?
Does that have a lot?
But I did it twice, and I slept like a baby. So I was just like, maybe I should keep doing it. And that really surprised me, because I thought it was something stupid, like, I'm worried I can't bench press the most in New York City. But it really did help just sitting down and writing it out. I think that was the entire question.
No, but like I actually don't think I've ever heard of a worry journal, so I'm gonna go Google that. Like, so maybe that's what I need. But cool, awesome. All right, man.
For me, I feel like what was something that was difficult is just I'm a real person. So like having a full-time job, I didn't realize how easy it would be to implement simple things like I drive a lot, like using a pillow, like things to prevent your injuries, but also to just be able to perform better. With the different warm-ups that I did and nutrition-wise, just preparing myself better, taking accountability was huge. Like if you want to show up for yourself and your goals, your life is always going to get in the way. So I think realizing with the coaches who are incredible people like Massey and Jen, that they are real people too, and hearing that, hey, their life isn't perfect either, but they're still achieving all of their goals, I think is really eye-opening for me and something that I had to juggle with at first, so.
Positives and negatives. Okay. Positive is my relationship with nutrition drastically changed. Now, I used to have a binge eating disorder. So for me, like I started under eating, and it was funny because when we met with our nutritionist, her name was Jen, I was telling her, listing out everything I eat, calories, macros, and she was like, same thing she told you, you're doing too much. She's like, you're doing too much. She's like, do not need to be that honed in. You can enjoy food, you can enjoy that relationship. I mean, that was a big positive. Taking us, like I said, it was humbling for me because it was putting aside my pride and truly learning. Not like, who is this person telling me what to eat and what to do? I already know what I'm doing. It's working, but truly like locking in with someone and like saying, okay, I need accountability. I need someone to mentor me. Let me do that. That was a positive. Going into the track of like learning about nutrition, learning about changing my workouts, not having a barbell on my back all the time. And then the negatives, for me, I just really missed the weights. I missed the let's go, the grunts, the drops on the ground. I didn't do that anymore. That was the one negative.
Well, maybe we could actually dig a little deeper into some of the challenges, because I think it's nice to maybe hear about some more things that really did indeed challenge us, and we can all relate to that. We've all put ourselves through some sort of training program, so we've all faced a lot of challenges in our life, whether it's work, life, personal things. It might be nice to just be able to relate and hear a little more on these things. So if anyone wants to kind of step up, if they really feel the challenge that spoke to them or they had to surpass.
I think my biggest challenge for all of this, the first day that we had the orientation, I actually started crying, which was like crazy. I was like hysterical with like 4 random strangers. And fitness is my life. I'm a coach. I'm in a gym 14, 15 hours a day, and I love it there. And competing has also become part of my life as well. And I felt like I go to bed at 8 p.m. I wake up at 4 a.m. every day. Like I know exactly what I'm eating every day. Everything was calculated at time, except on the day of competitions, I kept not winning. Like 3rd place wasn't good enough, 2nd place wasn't good enough. And when I was talking to the coaches, Jen actually said that too. She's like, there's no joy. And when she said that to me, I started crying because I was like, there is no joy in my life. My joy is winning. My joy is hitting these numbers. And when I can't do that, I take it very personally because I feel like my whole life goes to this thing and then I can't even do that. And so I was like, I don't even know what joy looks like. I'm 25. I don't go out. This is what I do. And she was like, you need to start doing something else because too much of anything will like literally crumble you. And that's what I felt like. And that's why I called it the comeback. Because my confidence was completely shot. I was no longer showing up as like, I'm the strongest person in the room, like this is who I am. And that's the Afia that I know myself to be. I just became a shell of myself. And throughout this process, I mean, I didn't follow the program because I just needed to lift. But I felt my confidence slowly come back because I started delegating time to myself. Like instead of hitting the gym, I would go to the beach. I joined like a social run club. Like I started going out, like I wasn't in bed by 8 p.m. I was like, oh my God, like I have to drink a cold brew to stay awake. But that was the most challenging part. Like just giving myself grace, not being too hard on myself, like meaning even if I didn't do well, like I still showed up.
I actually think it'd be interesting to tap into failure because you brought it up. I find speaking about failure is super interesting as a perspective, as someone who maybe grew up in performing arts, which I did, and I also got into athletics. You have winners and you have losers. You win and you lose. So I would love to hear your opinion on how you view failure because everyone's going to be very differently affected by failure. And the way that you can get past it as an athlete is probably different from someone who's never competed in something, someone who's never been a performer and has been rejected constantly and passed on for many jobs. So I would love to hear maybe what everyone says, but especially if you like, what do you do? How do you view failure?
This is something that I'm still working on. Failure has never been a positive for me. Like, and I understand the benefits of it, but it makes me feel like I didn't do enough. And I mean, even today, I didn't win, but I showed up. And sometimes I feel like that's what I'm learning is showing up makes you a winner because try, you're definitely a pussy by default. Like, you're scared. And you know what? You have to have the courage just to step up on stage. It's hard. It's hard being vulnerable in front of everybody. They see, like, how badly you're in pain, you can't push anymore, but, you know, all it does is motivate me for the next time. I'm like, okay, I didn't do this, I'll do that next time. So it gives me something to work for.
I'm gonna jump in here and tie in those two questions. I think everything comes down to releasing control. I mean, I could cry on stage and tell you, like, I live in Western North Carolina, we were hit by a hurricane. Like, life, you can't control it. And I think community is the biggest thing that will get you through failure. Like, having the team here, having people who know more than you, who are willing to invest in you, who see themselves in you, who can relate to you, but also know how far you can grow is huge. So I think there's so much power in community and releasing that control. You're gonna fail, you're gonna have to get back up. Life's not easy. I work a full-time job, like I drive all over the place. I see patients who are suffering, like, it's not great, but when you see the positives and you have that community to uplift you, and I think with the Adidas team, I've really seen that. These girls here are very strong, and I'm sure everyone in this room is as well. And I mean, the fact that you show up today, you can show up for yourself tomorrow. Afia, you're strong. But yeah, I think it's just releasing that control.
Yeah, well, I'm a Bible girly, so I know it tells me in the Bible in James, it says, you know, take every opportunity of adversity as, you know, take it into joy. Be joyful when adversity faces you. So for me, that's a big thing, is like, when failure comes to me, I know that I'm gonna have an opportunity to celebrate sooner or later, because I'm gonna be able to say, I failed once, but I passed it this time. I did it better this time. So I think I face failure a bit differently. I honestly get excited when I fail. Sounds weird. I get excited because it's just like, okay, I failed again once, but you know, next time I'll be able to say, yeah, I did it, and it's an opportunity to celebrate. Because if we didn't have the losses in our life, we wouldn't be able to celebrate the good things either. So I like that.
All right, so let's get into a little bit about true strength now, right? So I would love, we're all going to define true strength differently, but I'd love for you guys to let us know how you would define true strength. So let's start this.
It's funny because they asked us this question a while ago, and yesterday I told Jones I have no answer. I have nothing to say. But I've been thinking about it all today, and I think when we think of strength, of course, we think like, who's lifting the heaviest PRs, who's hitting the top weights. But for me, truthfully, coming from a different story from the girls, I think the strongest person that I was is when I was plus size, when I was starting in the game. That to me was true strength, like the resilience, the consistency, the facing the adversity of like, I'm not the skinniest, I'm not the most fit, but I have to walk in the gym and do this routine. They remind me of people who are like, why is she in the gym? She's big, why is she not eating this? Why is she eating out? True strength to me is like someone who's disciplined, someone who's consistent, someone who has the fortitude to like wipe away what everyone else is saying and just keep going. It's really difficult. True strength is not defined by like, oh, who's lifting the heaviest PRs. It's just truly the person who's locked into their goals and their path. That to me, I admire you if you do that.
So locked into your goals, locked into your path. Awesome. Yeah. Anytime you want to clap. All right, man.
I think true strength is unwavering. Like we've been talking about, if you have failures, you have to get back up. For me, I know what it's like to be at my weakest point. I was anorexic at a young age, and to the point where my organs were failing me. So it's something that's hard for me to talk about, but I know what it feels like to be on the complete opposite spectrum. So when you don't have your mind, your body, and your spirit aligned, and you're not fueling your body and doing the right proper things, it's a bigger picture. So when you look at life and you really just absorb the hard moments, like when I wasn't strong, I know what it feels like. But being on the opposite side of that after this cohort especially, it's just very eye-opening to see how strong we can be and really together, and just putting other people into your community. I mean, having healthy relationships can go a long way, so.
I think that similar to what both of them just said, true strength to me is perseverance. it's always easy to do something that you constantly do. Meaning like, we work out all the time. I don't think us showing up for a workout shows strength. A random person off the street doing what we do, that takes strength. It takes strength to suck every single day and continue to show up. And this is just like a metaphor my coach told me. We're like breaking down form on a movement. And he was like, we need to go up in weight. The weight is too light. Because once the weight gets heavy, that's when I start to see where you start to fuck up. He's like, when you don't have a perfect routine, when you don't get all that sleep, when you're not stressed out, he's just like, of course you're gonna perform well under ideal conditions, but who you are under not ideal conditions, that's your true character. I feel like that's true strength, just showing up, as you said, when you're not your best mentally, physically, and continuing to show up.
Yeah. When I was thinking about it, I kind of had a similar thought of just some very straightforward that continuing on, even though failure is a part of the journey. I think that perseverance is like super solid, and I think a lot of people can really relate to that because you have to just keep moving forward and learning from the failures, even though they're inevitable. So I think we should wrap up here a little bit, but let's share something that maybe we can give the audience a takeaway that you had from this. Maybe a short takeaway or a little bit of advice that we can share with everyone.
My biggest advice sounds very Gen Z of me, but I always say be very childlike. And I don't mean be childish or mature. I mean like go out into the fitness community wanting to know more. Eyes open, hands open, curiosity. That's my biggest thing. Like be the child in the room. Like I want to get to know you. I want to be your friend. I want to see like what do you have to teach me? What can we learn together? Don't be narcissistic either, and don't be the person that just wants to give, take, give back. You look beautiful today. You were super strong. You killed it. I saw her. She did actually kill it. John, be the person that uplifts everybody. That's my biggest takeaway. Be the childlike person in the room.
For me is find your support system. So find people who make you happy, who light your soul on fire. There's a bunch of people out here and y'all all have similar interests. So go connect with someone, find that support system. I mean, I know we're here for this shoe. I found a shoe that supports me, but also the team here. Having these girls has changed my outlook on just lifting and transformed a lot. So just find your support system, find your people.
I would say my takeaway would be, or my advice would be, do it scared. When I first showed up for the cohort, I was a mess. And somebody brought up this competition to me 2 weeks ago. The same events that I did today are how I injured my back last year, and I couldn't lift for 8 months. And I was terrified to go on that stage and lift that weight and hurt myself again, and I was terrified of not doing well and not feeling like I was strong for everybody and myself, and I wasn't prepared for any of that. And then I just said to myself, like, you sound like a loser. Like, you don't even want to try, so just do it scared. And it might pan out exactly how you want, because I feel fine now. So maybe I'm just being over dramatic.
So if we do have time for like a quick Q&A vibe, okay, sweet. So we're gonna do a quick Q&A. Any questions you have for anyone on stage? Let's say raise your hand and maybe we can bring a mic out. Maybe say your name and your question would be awesome. All right. So any questions for the girl? What's up? We got some. Let's Alex. I know Alex.
Okay, hi, I'm Alice. So that was really loud. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you guys. I came in a little bit late, but I'm curious, what is your number one tip for confidence, both in your lifts and workouts, and going out into the world? A lot of us have all types of different careers where there's pressure on us, and confidence, I think, is key. Would love your guys' thoughts, each of you, on where you get your confidence from.
I'm sorry, I'm a woman of God, so I get my confidence from God, but also from outside that perspective. I only have one body, all right? What I give to it, what I took away from it is my fault and my fault only. I take accountability for it. I gotta love the one body that I'm given. I gotta treat her right, I gotta respect her. I've got to push her in the way she's never been pushed before. So my ultimate confidence comes from knowing that, like, who am I to say, like, I look ugly, I feel ugly, I don't feel this way, I had a horrible day. Like, okay, I only have one opportunity, one time, one body that I get to connect with. Let's do this. Let's get better. Let's be confident in it. Let's love it. Let's let others love it. Let's be kind to it. That's my biggest thing with confidence. I love it.
For me, comparison is a thief of joy. So if you're comparing yourself to what you looked like 5 years ago, which I know people, you normally think of comparison as, I'm gonna compare myself to that billboard or that girl over there. Some people compare themselves to what they look like yesterday. Your body fluctuates. So I think the biggest thing, like for me with this campaign, I was focused on sleep. I was also focused on my hormones. I was focused on my mental health. Like knowing that I don't always show up to the gym. I'm not always there to take a picture. I'm there to be there for myself and for myself tomorrow and the day after that. And to not compare myself, because at the end of the day, if you don't love your body now, you're gonna look back years later and be like, I really wish I would have loved myself through all of this. So that's for me.
Maybe we can get one more question.
Hi, I'm Carla. When you guys were talking about failure, I think it was Athea, you mentioned finding your joy. I was just curious, what's everyone's joy outside of fitness?
I think I can answer first. It's simple. I enjoy going to the beach. I enjoy going hiking, especially in New York City. We are surrounded by concrete, and it's so bad for our nervous system. So I just found that, like, putting myself in different environments, like having the sun actually go on me, putting your feet in the sand or the dirt, like that has been my joy.
How many hours do we have? For me, I mean, what do I not love? I think when you focus on what you really enjoy, like I enjoy being here, I enjoy being with a like-minded community, I enjoy hiking. For me, I'm Christian, so I enjoy spending time with the Lord. There's not a lot of things I don't love, but I work in the medical field, so I love patients. I think the biggest thing for me is putting other people first. I find a lot of enjoyment in that, a lot of fulfillment. Yeah.
Where do I find joy? It's a great question. Same thing, a lot of joys, but truthfully, it's serving others. Like, I love to be the helpful one, that I love to help others, and that can come in all kinds of forms. Being a trainer, being the photographer for your friend, being the person to listen to. It's just truly like being below someone and honestly just serving whoever needs to be served, whoever needs the help. That's where I find my joy, truthfully.
Awesome. All right, so I think we need to wrap things up, sadly. But if we could just thank the panelists, thank the ladies. Thank you to Adidas for putting this all together. And even though we each had individualized goals, we collectively did it. And just to call out that as strong women,